Ironman, Wisconsin. It's a full Ironman, 2.4 miles swimming, 112 miles biking, and then full marathon, so 26.2 miles running. Took place in Madison, and it is in Lake Winona. And then you go out to Verona, Cross Plains, and Mount Horeb. It's a nice triangle out there for the bike course. And then you come back in and run through downtown Madison. Race day starts with race morning, a little frantic. You gotta be up pretty early. So I was up at like 3:30. You wanna get your first meal in about 3 hours before it starts. And then race starts around 7. I got in the corral maybe 200 people back. It's a rolling start. Every 3 to 5 seconds, they just do beep, 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 and then you run in the water. And then it's just like, you're on. Clock has started. You know it's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be like 10 hours, 12 hours, and you're on the clock now. So everything counts from that moment forward. So swim went pretty well, really fast for me for where I've been in years past. It was an hour and 3 minutes, which is exciting. Everything felt good the first lap. The second lap I was a little nervous just because of how often I'm looking up because I can see people treading water out in front of me. I didn't know where I was time-wise until I got out of the water. I was in 90th position when I got out of the water. I couldn't have probably asked for too much more. Obviously, there's people that I'm dealing with that I have to swim around, but I felt like my swimming ability was put to the test and showed through exactly how it should have been. Transition from swim to bike. So you run up the double helix. You have everybody lining up on the crowd on the sides. So you're running through this like noise tunnel of cowbells and people screaming and people excited for you. And it's just a really cool situation. So first problem of the day happened with the transition bags. The day before, I completely tied the transition bag. Day of, I completely forgot to untie them and they were like in a double knot, super tight. I don't know what I was thinking. So I had to completely rip it open. So I'm holding waffles into my stomach, even though it looks like I'm nursing like a hurt shoulder or broken collarbone or something. But a lot of people were asking why I was doing that, and that's the reason why. Biking went, I'd say, 90% well. It starts out 16 miles out to a 40-mile loop that you do twice. I'd say it felt pretty good, felt like I was going smooth and fast for loop 1. And then maybe the last 10 miles of loop 1 got really lonely and I was by myself. Mile 110, 110 and a half, so I'm almost to transition. I remember thinking like, okay, wow, I made it. So this like really high moment, and within 30 seconds, I turn on to John Nolan. This lady was on her Sunday cruise on a recumbent bike, earphones in, no idea that this race is going on, comes through that bike path in between 2 cars, and there was just absolutely nothing I can do. So I slid to a stop as much as I could, and then she just nailed the side of my bike. All of a sudden I'm on my back, just laying there. And my first thought was like, my race is over. This is it. Like, you don't just like crash at 15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, and nothing is wrong with you. I was laying there, I was like, I don't feel that bad. Like, it hurts really bad, but like, I don't feel like nothing's like broken. Like, I have no broken bones for sure. So I'm like, okay, I can just run this back in. And then I looked over and my bike actually got thrown into the grass, so not more of it broke. It was just the one thing that broke. I got stopped by the police officer, just said, hey, like, ask me a couple questions just to see if I had like a concussion, but I was completely fine. And then I angrily rode back to transition and ended up with a 5:23. So 3 minutes after where I wanted to be, but with a crash. As far as looking at my performance, I can't be upset with that performance, and that's right where I wanted to be.
Kyle, you're doing amazing. Keep it up, buddy. Doing awesome. Woo!
He just crashed. How you doing?
Okay. My shoulders were hurt. Crashed and now my hip hurts. So at least I'm not thinking about my shoulders.
You're still with it. We'll see you later.
I just got into transition. You get everything on for your run. So mile 2, 3, 4 are going by, and I've run from the Capitol now, and I've gone down towards Camp Randall. And then the next big point that I would fixate on is Observatory Drive, which has this massive hill up by Liz Waters. A lot of people walk it, and it was very satisfying to be able to run that. So at this point, I'm not thinking about the crash anymore, and I'm thinking about, okay, just make it up this hill. So I'm clicking miles off, 7, 8. I'm like, okay, this is happening. This is legitimate. Like, this might actually happen. And I can feel my stomach is pretty full. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't have that empty feeling. In a lot of previous races, I have had this feeling in my stomach where you're just really empty. And at this point, I'm in 16th overall and 5th in my age group, and my coach is saying just keep running. Like if people blow up, this could possibly be a top 10. So feeling really good about where I'm at. At mile 11 to 12, I was like, man, my stomach hurts bad, like really bad. It just felt like a brick in like the top of my stomach, like just under my rib cage. I'm like, all right, just keep going, like it'll be fine. Went to the bathroom and just, couldn't get anything out. I was really trying to puke more than anything just to get the brick of sugar out of my stomach. And it just hit me around 13.2, 13.3. I remember just hitting a turnaround and being like, I can't do this anymore, like I'm not gonna run this whole thing. And that was the most devastating moment because I knew how long of a day it was gonna be. And then after there, it was just the brutal, it's called the Ironman Death March, where you're run walking, it's painful, your shoulders are slumped over a little bit, like body language is bad for everybody doing it. You feel so out of luck, it can mentally really break you while you're doing this, and there's nothing anybody can really say to like pick you up. At this point now, I'm not in 5th place anymore in my age group, not in 16th overall, so at that point I had to watch 74 people pass me. I ended up in 90th place. I had to watch my goal time slip away, which I was about 4 miles away from the finish line when I watched my clock go past 10 hours, which was the goal time. Still got the exciting, last half mile. You always run that in no matter what. And Mike Riley screams, "You are an Ironman." And you can feel the energy of all the people there. And even though maybe you're not the first, few running through, it's still exciting and you hear all the music and everything.
Come on, Kyle, they're waiting for you. Let's go, You are
I had so many people yelling close enough to Mike Riley that he said, "Come on down here, they're all cheering for you." So it was kind of neat to see that like my little crew, my little gang of people was loud enough that Mike Riley took notice, because even though he's like down there and feeling the energy from everybody, that he could tell that I had a few people down there waiting for me. At that point though, my hip had started to really like lock up again. I tried to just like sit down after the finish line, but they like had to usher me through, and I'm like, I just need to like sit down. And then I think they thought I was gonna pass out or something, but I was okay. I just really wanted to sit down. So then I have like 3 or 4 people like carrying me up, and I'm like, oh no, this looks so bad. Everybody's gonna think I'm like milking this out. You see all your friends talk about the race and have a post-race soda or 6, and then whatever kind of food they have there, you're gonna go max on it. Overall, it was a 12-second PR from my last race that I did. It was a much more difficult course than the last one I did, but for where my training was and everything that I prepared, it was definitely a big letdown from where I thought I should have been. This was the first time I actually put in enough work that my body was physically there and I was strong enough to go start to finish running. It wasn't gonna be a deal of my body's breaking down, I'm not physically strong enough because I haven't put enough miles in. So it was really exciting to see that, and that was nice to know that and have it in the back of my head. But then when you mess up nutrition, it doesn't really matter at all, because if you mess that up, you're gonna be walking. It's a learning experience for sure, but a lot of positives that came from it. Just knowing now moving forward that I can compete with people my age. There's people here that are an age group national champion, and people who are doing this 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So really my first year of coached, focused, good training. It was really exciting to see that I could be in part of the race, in contention for a Kona slot at some point in the near future. This year had been, I wanted to get a top 10, and top 10 was definitely within my wheelhouse.